You know, it's funny, sometimes the best life advice you can get comes from words written centuries and centuries ago. Today, we're going to unlock a 700-year-old Korean poem to see what it can teach us about living a truly meaningful life. So, can a poem that's 700 years old really teach us anything about how to live in our crazy modern world? I mean, really? Well, you might be surprised. It turns out the desire for a life with purpose, an authentic life, is something that hasn't changed at all. So today we're diving into this incredible classical Korean poem. It's called A Hansi by a scholar named Kim Won-bal. And we're not just going to read a translation, no way. We're going to go on a little adventure, unlocking its secrets one character at a time. We'll learn how to say them in Korean and what they mean. It's kind of like we're building the poem from the ground up to really get what the poet was trying to say. All right, so here's the plan. We'll look at the ancient characters themselves, see how they paint a picture, figure out the poet's real message, and then see how it all tells the story of a simple life. And stick around, because at the end, we'll talk about why this whole thing is still so incredibly relevant. Okay, let's get into it. The first part of this poem is just beautiful. It's like Kim Won-bal is an artist, and instead of paint, he's using these characters as his brushstrokes to create this amazing, living landscape right before our eyes. So our very first building block is this character right here. In Korean, we say gung, and it means river. Simple, powerful, right? It's the foundation of the whole scene. Okay, so we have a river, but what kind of river? Well, the next character tells us exactly that. This one is pronounced hwal, and it means wide. So you put them together, gang hwal, a wide, vast river. You can just feel that sense of openness, can't you? And here's the complete first line. Gyeongsangbuk-do. It translates to, the river is wide, so the long-finned fish are free. See what he did there? He took that image of a wide river and immediately connected it to this idea of freedom, of being able to move without anything holding you back. This is way more than just a pretty picture.
All right, let's see where he takes us next. The second line starts with this character. In Korean, it's rim, and it means forest. And I love this one because if you look closely, it's literally just two tree characters standing together. How cool is that? And just like he told us the river was wide, he gives us a quality for the forest. This character is sim, which means deep. So now we have rim sim, a deep forest. This isn't a scary deep, though. It feels more like a sanctuary, you know, a place of safety. So the whole second line reads, rim sim kwan jorjogui. The forest is deep, so the tired bird returns. Ah, I love that. So the wide river gave us freedom, and now the deep forest gives us peace, a sense of homecoming. He's painted this perfect, harmonious scene in nature. But what's the point? Why is he showing us this? Well, this is where everything changes. The poem takes a sharp turn here. Kim Won-bal takes all that beautiful imagery of the outside world and turns it inward, to talk about himself. He's about to make a huge personal statement. Boom, here it is, the third line, Gui-jung-chio-ji, returning to the countryside is my true will. And the two most important characters in the entire poem are right at the end there, O-ji. It means my will, my true intention. This is it. This is the heart of the matter, what he's been building up to. But he's not done. He adds one more line, and it's a really important clarification. B.C. Jojigi. He's saying, my decision is not because I saw some subtle signs of trouble coming. He's telling us what his motivation isn't, which is a really interesting way to do it. So, what on earth are these subtle signs he's talking about? He's talking about a concept known in Korean as Gimi. Think of Gimi as like a sixth sense. It's that subtle feeling, that premonition that something's about to go down. And for a scholar official like our poet, this had a very specific meaning. It meant having the political smarts to see the writing on the wall, to sense danger at court, and to get out of town before everything fell apart. So you see the massive difference he's setting up here? On one hand, you've got OG, his true will, this deep, authentic desire for a simple life that comes from his heart. And on the other hand, you've got Gimi, a cold, calculated political move to save your own skin. And the poet is basically shouting from the rooftops, my choice is about my true will. It has nothing to do with political calculation. And just to make it crystal clear what he's talking about, let's look at some classic examples of acting on Gimi. There was this king, King Yensan, who started being really cruel behind the scenes. That was the Gimi, the subtle sign of the tyrant he would become. Or my favorite story, this official named Jung Han. He suddenly quits his job saying, "Oh, I just really miss the food from my hometown," right? Well, soon after, his boss gets overthrown, and everyone realized, whoa, Jung Han saw the Gimi and made a genius excuse to get out. Kim Won-bal is saying, I'm not being clever like that. That's not what this is.
Okay, let's put all these pieces together. We have the nature part, we have the personal part. How does it all click together to tell one single story? It's actually this really elegant four-step logic. Step 1, he shows us the fish and it's all about freedom. Step 2, he shows us the bird and it's all about peace and homecoming. Step 3, he says, that feeling, that natural freedom and peace, that's what I want. That's my OG. And then, the final step, step 4, he makes it absolutely clear that this is a choice coming from his heart, not a sneaky political escape, not gimme. So he's basically saying, I am that fish, I am that bird. He's not running away from politics, that's the key. He is running towards something, towards the freedom of that river, towards the peace of that forest. This isn't about survival, it's about authenticity. Which brings us all the way back to the beginning. Okay, so a 700-year-old poem about some scholar wanting to retire to the countryside. Why should we care? What does this have to do with our lives today? Well, it's because this poem is the perfect example of a really beautiful and timeless Korean idea. It's called Won-bal, and it describes this state of mind where you find genuine happiness and peace, not from chasing wealth or fame, but from living a simple, honest life. It's all about choosing inner peace over what the world tells you is success. At the end of the day, that's what this poem is. It's an argument. Kim Won-bal is making a case that a life lived according to your own inner truth, your OG, is infinitely more valuable than a life spent calculating your next move, driven by ambition or by fear. And man, that's a message that is just as powerful today as it was 700 years ago. So, I'll leave you with this. That 700-year-old poem asks us a very modern question. In our world, a world that is all about ambition and calculating the next step up the ladder, what is your true will? What is your OG? It's a heck of a question and definitely something we're thinking about.